What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Smartphone World. Today I'm going to be doing a phone comparison for you with, of course, the HTC One that just came out, the Galaxy S4, which we should be seeing in March 15th to be exact, and the Apple iPhone 5S, which should be out in September. The only reason why I'm comparing the 5S to this is because every time I compare the iPhone 5 to it, people are like, oh, why are you comparing something that is not going to be up to date? Fine, I'll compare the iPhone 5S, which is, we've already heard specs about it, we already know what it's going to look like, so might as well compare it, right? Alright, let's start with the HTC One. What kind of screen does that have? It has the 4.7 inch 469 ppi Super LCD 3 display. It is an amazing display. I've seen it, I've used it, it is awesome. The Galaxy S4, that one's also going to have something amazing. It's going to be a 4.99 inch, or we'll call it 5 inch display at 441 ppi. That's not an LCD though, that's a Super AMOLED display. So I'm very interested to see how rich the colors are in a Super AMOLED with a PPI density that high. The iPhone 5S. It's not going to be too much different from the 5, believe it or not. It's actually going to have the same exact display from what I hear. It is going to be a 4-inch display at 326 ppi. Now let me also say something else about all three of these displays. The first two, the HTC One and the Galaxy S4, they both have true HD displays. 1080 display. The iPhone 5, that is not. That is 1136 by 640. So you would call that a 640 display. Yeah. That's from Apple. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about internal memory. The HTC One will have a 32 and a 64 gigabyte version internal memory. That's great. Galaxy S4, 16, 32, 64. The iPhone 5S, 16, 32, 64. Which one wins here? The Galaxy S4 wins because it will have a micro SD slot. None of the others do have. So, I mean, if you think about it, the Galaxy S4, if you got the 64 gig, you can put a 64 gig card in there and be 128. Destroys all of them. They will all have 2 gigs of RAM, from what I hear. Now let's talk about camera. The HTC One has a 4 ultra pixel camera. We've already seen the contest between the HTC One and the iPhone 5 in pictures. Even though it's not as high of a resolution of a picture, you saw how more natural the pictures looked compared to an iPhone 5S. None of the pictures were overexposed. It even did terrific in low light conditions. So, I mean, the HTC One will be very different from all these other phones with their cameras. The Galaxy S4 is supposed to have a 13 megapixel camera. Regular megapixel. It's going to be a very good camera. It's going to do very well in low light conditions. We'll have to see how it compares to the ultra pixel. Same thing with the iPhone 5. Now, will the iPhone 5 have an 8 megapixel, or will they also bump it up to a 13? I don't know. I really believe it's going to be an 8 megapixel camera. Where they're going to bump it up is the front facing camera. I believe that it will be a 1.9 or a 2.0 front facer on the iPhone 5S, and it will finally be doing HD recording. The rear camera does HD recording, but the front facing on the iPhone 5 does not. It's only 720. This one, I believe, will be doing full HD. Just like in the Galaxy S4, that will have a 2.1 megapixel front facing camera, full HD. Same thing in HTC One. Full HD front-facing camera. Now let's talk about the processors. We know the HTC One has the Snapdragon 600 1.7 gigahertz quad-core processor in it. Extremely fast. Now, the Galaxy S4 There will be a version with the 5-octa 8-core processor, but I do believe that will be the international model. The model that's coming into the United States, Nina Mark did a test on a Samsung Galaxy S4 full HD display, and it had a Snapdragon 600 processor in it, 1.7 gigahertz quad core. So I'm thinking that it's going to have the same processor as the HTC One to run on the United States LTE system, which is fine with me. Now, what's going to be in the iPhone 5S? Yes, I heard that there's going to be a quad-core processor, 1.2 gigahertz quad-core processor. Is it A7, A8, A9? I don't know. We'll find out. But from what I hear, it's going to have a quad-core processor, so it will be faster. Faster to do what? I have no idea, but it will be faster. Talking about batteries now, there's a 2300 mAh battery in the HTC One. The Galaxy S4 is supposed to be having a 2600 mAh battery in it. That's fine, it's going to have a bigger display on it anyway, but I want to know if it will be running just as long as the HTC One does with the 5-octa in it. We'll find out. The iPhone 5S, still going to have the 1440, guys. Apple really likes that size battery. They won't have to change up their factories or anything. They can pump them out. It'll be cheaper for them. That's what you should expect. Now, the availability for the HTC One, we all know, is going to be March and in April, even going as far as May, certain points in the world. The Galaxy S4 will be announced in March. Should be available a couple weeks after that, going into April, maybe even into May, June, in certain parts of the world. I'm thinking that it will probably hit the United States sometime at the end of April or in May. The iPhone 5, expected September. Like always. Not really anything else to say about these phones. I do believe the HTC One will be one of the best smartphones of the year. The Galaxy S4 will either be number 1 or be number 2 underneath the HTC One. That was another episode of Smartphone World. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do me a favor, click subscribe. Tell me what you guys want to see in future episodes. Visit my Facebook fan page and go to thatsmartphoneshow.com for any articles you want to read. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day.